So I had to use an audio to explain this because some of the things that are happening and some of the things that females are trying to do nowadays are just getting out of hand. And sincerely, we all have to know that there are some limits that we should not cross. There are some limits that should not be crossed. But before I get into the details, let me just say this for bachelors or the spinsters out there or people that are preparing to get married again. Whenever you are preparing yourself to get married, whenever you are planning to get married, like to really get married, you have to be mentally prepared. You have to be mentally prepared that you are going to have misunderstandings with your partner after you get married. I mean, it is 101% certain. Your marriage cannot be full of joy every time. There are definitely going to be misunderstandings that you just have to like find a way to resolve and tackle the misunderstandings because it's like people are just getting married and people are thinking that okay, everything will be fine. As long as I love my partner and as long as my partner loves me, we shouldn't be having any misunderstanding. And whenever even the slightest misunderstanding occurs, the first thing they think of is getting a divorce. You know, you have to be prepared. Like, okay, I'm getting married to this person. We are definitely going to have misunderstandings. It is certain. It's not maybe. It's not probably. It is certain that you are going to have misunderstandings. So the most important thing is how you handle those misunderstandings. That's the most important thing. The misunderstandings are not the most important thing. It is how you handle them that are much more important. And apart from being prepared, like making up your mind that you are going to have misunderstandings, you also have to like make sure that you are prepared to find out some things that you are not going to be pleased with, that you are not going to be okay with about your partner. Because it is certain as well. After you get married, you are going to find out some things that you don't like about your partner. Even it might be little things that some people find difficult to deal with, and it might be major things that you know that you just have to like walk around it and find a way to make sure it doesn't destroy your marriage. You know, probably from not 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 following or not giving proper attention to the red flags that you saw before getting married to the person. So these two things are just very important. You have to make sure that you already know that you are going to find out some things that you will not be pleased with about your partner. That's the first thing. And the other thing is that you have to be prepared for the misunderstandings, and you have to be prepared that okay, there will be misunderstandings that you and your partner are going to need to work out, and you are going to need to find a way to resolve. So that being said, a lady came to the platform. This is the main topic. A lady came to the platform a few days ago, on Saturday specifically. She came to register for matchmaking. I hope this audio won't be too long, but I will try to like summarize as much as I can. I'm definitely not going to say everything. I'm just going to say some important parts. Maybe I will do another audio, I don't know, but I will do this first and just explain some things that happened. So she came for matchmaking on Saturday. She asked about the whole process. I explained how it works, the procedure and everything. I explained the payment that are required and all that stuff. So she was like, okay, she's going to go for what we call the complete matchmaking. Like that's the most expensive type of matchmaking that we have on our platform right now. So she said she's going to go for that. I was like, okay, no problem. But if you want to go for the complete matchmaking, then it's something else entirely. You have to like make me understand the kind of partner you want, the kind of partner you want us to get for you, and some other things. So she said, okay, no problem. She started explaining. At some point, she said, though she is presently married. So when she said that, it was like I didn't hear her properly. So I had to like ask her again, you mean you presently have a husband? And she was like, yes. Right now, she's presently married to someone. But what she wants is that she wants someone with so attribute, this attribute, that attribute, that will be willing to marry her after she leaves her present husband. Mind you, she has 2 kids now, and she's 31 years old. So what she's asking for now is that she's planning to leave her husband, her present husband, and she wants us at GMMP to find her another partner that will have some of the attributes that she told me. Money is part of the attributes, so it's almost certain every female will ask for that. So that will have some of the attributes that she told me, and the person must be willing to accept her. Okay. The person must be willing to accept that she's leaving her present husband after the divorce, is going to marry her, and she has 2 kids already. So I was like, wow, this is really, really strange. So I told her though that we don't accept people like that. Like you have to be divorced already. You must have completed the process of the divorce before you can even come to us and ask us for matchmaking. So she was like, oh no, if it's about the money, I can add to it, I can even double it and blah blah blah. I was like, no, it's not really about the money. No, if you give me money, I'm going to accept. Everyone is going to accept, especially in this Nigeria now. But it's not really about the money. Like I said in the beginning of this audio, there are some limits that should not be crossed, honestly. You are married, you have a husband. If you want to leave him, it's your choice, it's your decision. Leave, it's your life. But thinking of getting getting someone that will be ready to accept you immediately you leave your husband, it's kind of very, very ridiculous. So I was like, okay, before we even start talking about this, what's going on? Let me understand, like, what are the reasons? What's making you think of taking this crazy step? She was like, at first she didn't want to like open up, but after I kind of like just give her some general advice and so on, she was like, okay, she should tell me what's going on and make me understand so that I'll be able to like understand from her own perspective. So she was like, the first thing she said was that her husband is a very, very good man. I was shocked to hear that, because if your wife says that about you, if your wife sincerely, if she's sincere and she says that about you, that you are a good man, like you are a good husband, then my brother, you've reached another level of what will I call it? You've reached another level entirely, because most of the time it is the wife that will first come out like, you are, and things like that. But if your wife comes out and say that you are a good man, you are a good husband, you're a good father, then you've passed some tests. So that was the first thing she said. She said her husband she used the very twice. Her husband is a very, very good man and a very, very good father. I was like, okay, okay. So what's the problem? What's making you think of this crazy step? What's making you consider this kind of action? Oh, she was like, okay. The problem is that recently, before we start, what you are guessing is right. It has to do with polygyny is involved, but that's not the whole that's not what the whole story is about. Polygyny is just a little part of it. So she said her husband married a second no, her husband married a second wife recently, just recently. I was like, okay. She said before he married the second wife, her own mother, like the mother of the wife, was against it, and she warned her husband. Note the word that I used. The mother of the wife warned her husband that he must not marry a second wife. So, but the husband went ahead anyway, and he got himself a second wife. So that was not the main issue that caused all this palaver. So she was like, okay. After he married the second wife, he had some issues with her mom. But the wife, she was not really against it. She was okay as long as he's taking care of me now and he's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. And then no, there's no really big deal about it. I'm kind of okay with it. Although not entirely, there will still be the female the normal usual female unhappiness or the jealousy that will be there that her husband has married a second wife. But she was not really against it, like the major type of being against polygyny that we know nowadays. So she was like, okay. But her mom was majorly against it. She was very against it. But after the husband got himself a second wife, she had it out with him. Like they had a they had a big fight, not physical fight, but at this point, the fight was not physical yet, but they had a big fight on it. So after the fight, her husband told the mother of his first wife to leave his house. You might not get this part because the reason why the husband asked the mother of his first wife, to leave his house is because the mother of the wife is living with them. That's the first thing that that was the first point that I noted when she was telling me. Because why? Why would the mother of your wife be living in your house, not the same compound, your house, the same, how will I call it, apartment? She has her own room, definitely, but the same building. So the husband asked her to stop living with them, and he asked her to pack out and go back to her place. He even volunteered to get her an apartment if she needs it. The man is kind of someone that is financially doing all right. So while they were exchanging words, the mother of his first wife slapped him. That is, the mother of the first wife slapped the husband. You know, kudos to the man. He didn't do anything. He just swallowed the slap. And he just insisted that she must leave his house that particular day. So after that, the woman left. And after leaving his house again, the husband stopped giving her money. The funny part is that even when she was narrating this, I kind of thought she was telling, it was like she was narrating a movie. Because some of these things I've never heard them before. She said her husband usually give her mother, like the mother of his first wife, usually gives her money every month, like a monthly payment, maybe allowance, whatever you want to call it, just for her upkeep and some other things. So at this point, I was like, okay, wait, your mom, I asked her the question, is she married or divorced? Although in my mind, I knew she must be a divorced woman, most likely. So she said her mom has been divorced not once but twice. So I was like, okay, no problem, you can. I noted the point, right? But I was like, okay, no problem, you can continue with your explanation. So she said she talked to him that he should continue doing it and in order to to prevent some problems and everything. So the husband insisted that he's not going to do it because I find it not normal, right? But that's my personal opinion. But if you notice, when the husband asked the mother of his first wife to leave his house, and also when he stopped giving her money, it was after the husband married a second wife. The timing was off, kind of. But even though it might not be from the influence of the second wife, you never can tell because some of these things they just happen. The timing they just happen at times that you do not expect. But even if that's not the case, that is what the wife and the mother of and her mother will be thinking that okay, it is the second wife that is influencing him, that is encouraging him on this action that he is taking. So the wife said she talked to him to continue giving her money, and that if he stops giving money to her mom, like the monthly payment that he gives her, it is like he doesn't love her anymore, so on and so on and so on. So it got to a point where the wife, because of this, she moved out of her husband's house. She went to her mom's. She started living with her mom. Before I continue, the funniest part is that it was the mom. I don't know. It was the mom of this wife that I'm talking about. It was her mom that gave her my number, like that gave her the number of the platform to reach out to us and ask for matchmaking. You know. So after she moved in with her mom, she told the husband that she's not going to come back, and if he doesn't do whatever he's asking for, he can consider uh he can, or how should I put it? Okay, she told the husband that if he doesn't do what she's asking for, then their marriage is over. So I was like, okay. I asked her because in matters like this you have to be smart. I asked her like, okay, this divorce, sincerely, you don't need to lie. You don't need to give any false answer. It's just me and you having this conversation. Was it your idea or your mom's idea? Although I very, very knew that it was going to be the idea of her mom. So she was like, okay, it was her mom that brought up the idea of divorcing him. But she was asking me then, is it not also true? Why will he stop giving my mom money that he has been doing for several years and several years? Why will he stop now? Because he married a second wife and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, to be realistic, to be sincere with ourselves, what he's doing for your mom, it is just a bonus because he is not required to be giving your mom any money. It's not mandatory. It's not like it is his responsibility. For what it's worth, your mom, she is supposed to be in her husband's house. She's not even supposed to be living with you in the first place. Even you as a wife, you as a female, there are some limits that you have to set. There are some standards that you have to set. How will you allow your mom, even the mom of your husband, if it's not necessary, if it's avoidable, maybe if it's not due to sickness or some other things that you just can't prevent, it's better not to let your mom or the mom of your wife be staying with you permanently. That's the word, permanently. If they can come to spend some time with you and some time with you and the kids to greet you and so on, that one is normal. But staying with you permanently, it's not right. Like it's very, very It's not normal. It doesn't make sense. After I told her this, she was like, no, when they were living together, there was no problem. He was okay with it. Our mom was okay with it. She was okay. I said, that's the problem. Your husband was not supposed to be okay with it. So at the point that he started being not okay with it, then issue why, and these are the standards tó yẹ kó ti wà láti ilẹ̀. These are not things tó yẹ kó jẹ́ pé after he married the second wife ló yẹ kó ṣe máa implement. You understand? These are things that are supposed to, these are standards tó yẹ kó ti wà in place already, even before he married the second wife. No reasonable man will allow the mom of his wife or the mom or even his own mother to be living with him and his wife for no reason. It doesn't make sense. And now issues are occurring because he stopped giving her money and he chased her out of his own house, not her own house, his own house. And issues are occurring, and your mom is now telling you to divorce your husband, whom you said is a very good man. You yourself, you told me that your husband is a very good man. But because your mom is telling you to divorce him, you're also planning to divorce him. I'll just advise you. Firstly, don't follow your mother's advice on this issue. I'm not asking you to be disrespectful or to be bad to your mother. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is that on this particular issue, divorcing your husband, as long as what you told me earlier is correct, that is, your husband is a good man, is a good father, and he takes care of you properly, like he's supposed to be doing, then you have no reason to divorce him. Don't follow your mom's advice on this, because you also said it. I'm sorry to say this, but you said it. Your mom has been divorced twice. That is, she is incapable of being a decent wife. Being a, probably, most likely, because for a woman to be divorced twice, it's something else. It might not be due to her fault. It's possible, very, very possible. But most likely, for you to be divorced twice, you couldn't make it to work the first time. You also couldn't make it to work the second time. Then you have to check yourself as well. You understand? So I told her all this. She was like, oh, okay, but it's something that she just cannot do, because even her mom, she will be annoyed with her and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Because even before she left her husband's place and before she moved in with her mom was annoyed that, okay, let me jáde, ó dẹ̀ ṣì wà lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀, ṣe ọ̀dọ̀ ta ló yẹ kó wà, and stuff like that. So it was even the mom that asked her to leave her husband's house. And now the mom is asking her to leave her husband, to divorce him entirely, just because he is doing things that he's not even supposed to be doing in the first place. He's doing it for the mother of the first wife. And now the first wife is following the advice of her own mother. Advice that is definitely going to, like, okay, what's giving you the guarantee that, okay, if you divorce your present husband and marry another person, the second person that you marry is going to be even as good as the first husband that you left? There's no guarantee, because nowadays men are very, very crazy. A lot of irresponsible men are out there now. If you find someone, even wives, if you find a partner that is good to you, that is being good to you and fulfilling his or her responsibilities, it's better to just stay and stick with the person. Even if he or her is not like doing everything that she or he is supposed to be doing. If she's doing at least maybe 60-70%, then it's better to just stay there, because even there are men that are not doing 2% of the things that they are supposed to be doing, and women that are not even doing maybe up to 3% of the things that they are supposed to be doing in their marriage. So it's better to just stick with him. It's not based on everything that you have told me. I was telling her, based on everything that you have told me, he has not done anything wrong. Everything is just between him and your mom. And your mom is not even supposed to be involved, to be disinvolved in your marriage in the first place. Especially, I didn't tell her this, so especially since she has a very bad record of, a very bad record with how she, very bad record of being a wife. Let me put it that way. So, I was okay. So this is just the advice I have for you, and this was what I would advise you to do. Don't stop, remove this thought from your head, thinking of getting another one, because one thing is that there is no guarantee that it's possible. You might get a man that is even better than your first husband. It's possible. We can't lie to ourselves. We can't say these things are not possible. They are possible. It's possible. But at the same time, you have no reason to leave this man. You have no reason. All these reasons, your mom, they are nonsense. You have to be smart, and sometimes you have to like think by yourself and make the decisions that are best for you and your kids. You just have to like allowing your family members to be too involved in your marriage is a mistake, a very very big mistake. They will end up, I don't know, they will end up destroying everything. You just have to be smart and know what you are doing, especially when it comes to marriage. Because, oh God, to find a good partner nowadays, it's very, very difficult. Before you get married, you might be thinking, okay, I love this person, she loves me, and he loves me, blah, blah, blah. But when you get married, it's a different case entirely. When you start having kids, different case entirely. Okay, on your first night, there are different things that can happen after you get married. You have to be prepared to handle these things. You have to like mentally prepared and even sometimes physically prepared to handle. I'm not physically like not like in sense of hurting each other, but you have to be prepared to handle some crazy things that are going to happen after you get married. You have to know it. Crazy things are going to happen after you get married. I don't know how many times I have to tell people this. I tell a lot of people this thing. Things are going to happen after you get married. You have to be prepared to handle them. If you think, okay, whenever the first issue occurs, the next thing that will come to your mind is divorce, then I'm sorry, you will not be able to stay in any marriage. Even if you marry the best person on earth right now, you might just find it hard to even cope with it because we all have our flaws. We all have our bad sides. Everybody has it. So you just have to like be prepared to manage and compromise to some extent, you know. And at the same time, there are some standards that we have to set. As the husband now, most of the mistake, personally, I think the husband only to fuck up lately because the thing is that as a man, I've said it before, you for no reason, your mom or even the mom of your wife must not be staying with you permanently if there is no important reason for it, like maybe any medical reason or whatever. None of them must be staying with you permanently, nobody. It should be just you and your wife. Anybody that is staying with you should be temporarily, and it should be based on some requirement or because it is needed and it is unavoidable. You understand? Because even after you start having kids and the kids they start staying with you and your husband, there are some things that are going to change. Not to talk of an outsider that is not your child. You understand? So these are things that we have to know, and these are things that we have to be prepared for. And after the whole conversation with the wife, the following day, which was yesterday, the mother reached out to me. I'm not going to talk about what me and the mom discussed yet. I'm probably going to do another audio, probably based on how after this I'll decide. But I'm not going to talk about what the mom said yet. So I think that's all. And you can send in comments and let me know what you think. Maybe I got some things wrong and so on. And also thank you for listening.